we have, as I said to you, all-star guests this afternoon. And this first one is about to, well, she's about to make history, I guess, in a way. She is the Olympic gold medalist, Jess Fox, and she joins us now on the line. Are you there, Jess?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much for coming on. First of all, congratulations on being the second athlete selected to the Olympic team for Paris 2024. You must be pretty pumped.
Thank you. Yes, definitely. It's super exciting to get that early selection. And there's only two of us on the Australian team at the moment, but it's very exciting to see that number grow, I'm sure, in the coming weeks and coming months.
So they are definitely selecting other people. It's not just you two for this particular Olympics.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're expecting at least over 400 athletes to be selected for Paris. So it'll be a pretty epic team to be a part of.
Now, the other reason why this is epic for you is it is going to be your fourth Olympic Games, which is unbelievable. Jess, you're probably getting pretty sick of them by now, eh?
No, I think, yeah, it's an incredible achievement. And I guess I haven't really reflected on it. I need to get to that start line to be able to say I've competed at 4 Olympics, but to be selected on a 4th Australian Olympic team means the world to me. I've been competing for the last 15 years and I can't believe London 2012 was, 11 years ago, and that was my first one. And it's been an incredible journey since then. So very proud and very excited to be headed to a 4th Games.
Now, Jess, you've ticked off everything that canoe slalom has to offer: world titles, gold medals, awards at home here. You are regarded as the Don Bradman of canoe slalom, the Pele of football, or the Muhammad Ali of boxing. But I've got one more thing for you to tick off. And you do have some connections to France.
Yeah.
You're born in Marseille. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Is that correct?
Correct.
Your mother,
Yeah.
Your mother, Miriam, competed at the 1992 and the 96 Olympic Games for France. This next Olympics is going to be in France. What about the flag bearer? Has that been talked about or bestowed upon you? You can break it here first if you like.
No, not at all. I think Chef de Mission Anna Mears will be deciding who the flag bearers are for the Paris Olympic Games. Of course, it would be a huge honour if I was to be one of them. But I think just being part of the team, being part of that, I'm definitely not thinking about that. If it's to happen, that would be incredible. But just being part of the team, walking out into that stadium, as it usually is, will this time be on a boat down the River Seine. So it'll be an incredible opening ceremony.
Oh, wow.
And we'll have to wait a few months to see who the flag bearers are, because there's a woman and a man. Well, there's 2 flag bearers, I'm pretty sure, this time.
What a great response to a difficult question. What was she meant to say there? So Jess was meant to go, you know what? Yep, I'm going to be the flag bearer.
Going to go past Anna with the most Olympics. Say, look, if you don't pick me here, I'm going to be around 4 years, 8 years from now. Anna. It's going to happen. Make it happen now. Have they given you an idea of what they're wearing? Because I look at the Australian kit when they walk around, the opening ceremonies. I'm like, oh, who's chosen that? It's like, your grandma's picked that as your oldest school uniform that you wore. Have you had a little look, or have you got a say on the clothes that they wear?
I've actually been part of the Australian Olympic Athletes Commission. So we've had a few glimpses, but we can't give anything away. The big reveal will be sometime next year. They're still sort of in that final stage of what it'll look like. And I think it's always... you can't please everyone, but there's always an element of design, there's always an element of comfort, and there's always also, input from a few different people. Sportscraft will be doing the uniforms, and I think, you can expect some green and yellow. That's all I can really give away.
I reckon there's a couple other things we can expect. Probably an Akubra, I'd say.
Oh, I don't know, actually.
Ooh.
I'm not sure. But my favourite part of the uniform that we always get is the Olympic blazer. And on the inside of that blazer is the name of every Australian Olympic champion. And it's sort of when you open it, it's on the inside of that. So it'll be super cool to see my name on the inside.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And since you're on the committee, it'll be highlighted and embroidered bigger than
Yes.
everyone else. How did that happen?
Now, for the layperson, we see you every Olympics doing your paddling, and you compete in the C1 and the K1 events. Can you explain to us the difference in those two? And pardon my ignorance.
That's okay. I actually do a little bit of a video on this on my Instagram and TikTok. You basically have two crafts. They're two boats, we call them, the kayak and the canoe. The kayak, you're in a seated position with a double-bladed paddle, and your legs are sort of out in front. In the canoe, you're kneeling, your legs are sort of tucked underneath you, and you're seated also on a block of foam, and you're using a single blade. And so we do the same course down the rapids, but the boat, which you don't see how I'm seated usually. I've got a spray skirt on, so you don't see the inside, but that's the main difference, is how we're positioned in the boat and the paddle that we use. And there's actually a new event added to the Paris program, which is the kayak cross event, and that's another kind of kayak. It's a plastic kayak. It's a bit shorter, and that's basically contact sport. There's 4 athletes who go down the ramp at the same time and negotiate a course.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot more tactical and strategic than the kayak or the canoe slalom events.
I've always said for contact sports they should add water. I've always said that. Make it so that people can fall in and not get out. Now, I've got a kayak at home, Jess. And
here we go.
No. You're worried I'm going to ask for tips. I'm not. No, I've got a little children's seat on the front, and I take my 2-year-old out. And she often,
that's awesome.
she often tries to jump out and drown herself. I was wondering maybe for your event, could you add a child seat on the front and just add a whole new element, and each person has to know is a dumb idea.
Bring a child.
Bring a child.
Grab a child from the crowd.
That's right. And you've got to then negotiate while you've got a 2-year-old driving you nuts. No, dumb idea. I understand that. Now, obviously, you the last Olympics you were at in Japan was slightly different to the other two. I'm expecting. It was delayed a year, and then there was COVID about, and we all saw what happened with the Olympic Village and everything. You must be pretty excited to sort of return to the huge festival atmosphere for this Paris Olympics.
Definitely. I think having been to the London Games, which was an incredible, atmosphere, massive crowds, everything was perfect. The vibe was amazing. Going to Rio, which again, we had crowds. There were a few issues in Rio as well, but when we got to Tokyo, it was a very different Olympics. And I guess there were so many restrictions in place. We had, masks that we had to wear everywhere all the time. We had daily testing, no crowds, obviously. So it was a very different atmosphere, and it'll be so exciting to be back in, I guess, a normal games. And the Paris organizing committee have these grand plans to really make it a festival of sport, to bring culture and, the whole of France, really, because you've got different satellite villages as well. You've got the surfing in Tahiti, you've got the sailing in Marseille in the south, you've got some sports in the center as well of France. So it's really going to bring together art, culture, history, and sport to make this massive celebration, I think. So it'll be really exciting to be a part of that and to be, racing in front of a crowd again.
Is there anything you're looking forward to most, Jess? Because you've been to the Olympics, you've won a gold, you've won a silver, you've won 2 bronzes, you've ticked everything off in the sport that your sport has to offer. When you finish competing, A, do they allow you to stay? Because I think in the last Olympics you were sent home straight after your event. Correct me if I'm wrong. But is there something that you're looking forward to after? Is there any other hobbies or passions that will be going on at the Olympics that you'll be staying back for and watching?
Oh, tough question. I'm not really sure. I guess for us, the focus is always on the performance. It's always on, trying to do your best competition, and then everything else you can enjoy afterwards. I'll probably be staying the full 2 weeks because I'm also with the IOC Athletes Commission. So I'll be, sort of engaging with the athletes around the village, and then I think hopefully getting to a few other sports, but you never really know until you get there. It's not like the athletes get a free pass to every sport or every event. You sort of have to try and get a ticket. But as much as I can, I'll be supporting my fellow teammates and enjoying the time in the village, watching the games. I think it's my favorite thing to do, watching the Olympics. And I remember when we finished in Tokyo, a lot of people had to go, quarantine. I actually went back to Europe for more competitions, but, we were sitting in the hotel rooms for 2 weeks and watching the Olympics. So as much as I can, I'll be supporting my teammates and making the most of that Paris atmosphere.
Will you hang around after in France? Do you I've just gotten back from France. I was there for the Rugby Union World Cup.
Oh,
And they know
how
how,
good.
they know how to put a tournament on. I will say though, when they lost in the quarterfinals, the whole country basically dumped the tournament and decided
Oh,
it wasn't
yeah,
happening
touchy
anymore.
subject.
That's right. Thankfully, that won't happen with the Olympics. They compete for the whole 2 weeks. But amazing country to travel around. Will you travel and visit a few vineyards and a few, maybe the south of France or something like that?
Well, I have a lot of family in
Of
France.
course.
My mum's side of the family's in the south, in Marseille, and a few of them are in Paris too. So I'll probably pay them a visit, and my partner's French as well, and he's sort of more in the east. So I'm sure I'll be doing a little bit of a tour and seeing everyone, and yeah, celebrating with that atmosphere. It's going to be crazy, I'm sure.
It's a good joint sock. You
Oh,
should go
well,
for the Olympics.
I'm just thinking here, Jess is from Penrith.
Very similar
Come
to
from some great
Paris.
stop. Yeah, that's what I mean. And all the way to Paris. I mean, 2 P-letter words couldn't
Have you
be
been to
further.
Penrith? Have you been to Penrith?
I grew up in Richmond. How good. It's the dregs
good.
of Penrith. That's where I grew up out that way. We were lucky maybe once a month to head out to
lovely.
the Penrith shopping centre out there and walk around. But anyway,
Well, I have to say, Penrith gets a bad rap, but it's definitely, had a massive boost in the last few years, and it's just growing massively. There's so many beautiful spots. There's the Nepean River, there's the Blue Mountains, and I think, yeah, I love being out here. Obviously, we're the home of the Penrith Panthers as well, so that's been great to put us on the map in Australia as well, and celebrate that. So, yeah. Westies, I'm excited to hear that you're from Richmond.
Yes,
That's cool.
that's right. There's not many of us, but we are a small pool, and you're doing us proud, us Westies, Jess. You come from a lean talent pool, but Pat Cummins, Nathan Cleary, Mick Fanning. Where did you learn your craft of paddling? Was it at the Penrith Whitewater Centre there? I mean, I was there just trying to keep my head above the water, but is that where you learnt your craft?
Yeah, it was. I mean, both my parents used to paddle, so I learnt with them. I learnt, on rivers, on lakes when we were young. So I was born in Marseille and sort of learnt in that little kayak club down there by the sea. And then when we came to Australia, basically the Penrith Whitewater Stadium was my backyard because both my parents were coaches for the Australian team. So sort of spent a lot of time out at that Whitewater Stadium at first playing with the sticks and the rocks, and then eventually getting in the boat and getting on the rapids. So yeah, love it out here.
Now, you talk about your parents. The fact that your dad called you a gold medal race.
Incredible.
It was amazing to listen to. Have you sat and watched that with your dad and critiqued his call at all?
I don't think I can critique his course. He would probably find things to critique about my race, but no, I think it was such a beautiful moment to share with him, because obviously he couldn't be there to see it live, to be in the crowd, to cheer me on, but he was now the soundtrack of my race and of that moment for me, which will be with us my whole life. It was such an incredible moment, so full of emotion and relief and joy, and to share that with my family was really, really special. So yeah, every time I've watched it, I've cried. So I try to avoid, getting too emotional. Time to move on, we've got another games coming up. So no, but yeah, really cool to share that with him.
We couldn't quite believe it. The country, when you found out it was your dad, it was just that amazing thing, just a moment that was beautiful for Australian sport.
Yeah.
So
you could tell he was emotional.
Yes,
he sort of stopped talking at one point, and
well, we all were. I mean, it was incredible. But like most sort of singular sports where you're just doing it on your own, it can be quite lonely at time. Jess, is there anything that you do outside of sport that you get away from besides travelling to France and Penrith?
Yeah, I think it's important to have that sort of balance and to find different things to do outside of sport. Obviously, I'm training a lot, and my day revolves around my sport with, training and gym and physio, massage, video analysis. You're seeing other people like the psychologist, and, there's so many different things that go into a performance. So having time to switch off is important. And for me, that's spending time with friends when I'm home. That's reading, journaling. I'm also studying, so that takes up a bit of time too. And yeah, getting to the beach when I can, finding ways to fill my cup, I guess. Spending time with my greyhound, Miss Pink. Yeah, lots of different things.
what are you studying, Jess?
I'm doing a MBA, a Master of Business Admin at Griffith Uni.
There you go. Now, Jess, I'm getting the wind up in here. I think we've taken too much of your time, and I apologise. We can carry on as we've realised. I just wanted to ask you. Obviously, this is the last one, I promise. We're going to have a home Olympics here in 2032. What are the chances of Jess Fox in 9 years' time walking out? Is there a chance?
Who knows? I mean, yeah, there's still obviously a chance. I'll be 38.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, some athletes go until they're 40, of course. I guess for me, we'll see how the body's holding up after Paris. That's the first one I've got to get through, and then look towards LA. But I'll definitely be part of Brisbane some way or another. If it's not as an athlete, it'll be whether that's volunteering or in media or organizing committee. I'd love to be part of it and enjoy that atmosphere of a home games. I think everyone still talks about how special Sydney was, so I'm sure Brisbane will put on a great show, and it would be incredible to be part of that.
Absolutely. Hey, Jess, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on the run home. Good luck in Paris. We will be watching, and hopefully there are other athletes that join you. Hopefully it's not just you.
Thank you. Yeah, stay tuned. The team will keep filling up.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Very good. All right. Thanks so much, Jess.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Just a reminder.